Taran's fiancé, Amar, goes missing after a skiing accident. As she grieves for him, she meets Shekhar, who teaches her how to live again. When Amar is found to be alive, Taran needs to make a choice. Amar brings his fiancée Taran for a skiing trip. He loves adventure as much as he loves her. He shows her their resort on a mountain and explains that he will go higher up to ski. Taran refuses to entertain his ski vacations after they get married. They dance in the snow and are in love with each other. One morning, Amar embarks on a skiing adventure. When Taran is asleep, he enters a restricted area by mistake and bumps into another man. With that push, he falls from a great height and gets lost in the snow. Taran calls Amar's father Papa when he doesn't return. Papa has entertained too many of Amar's adventures since he was a kid. He seems sure Amar will somehow return. After a while, when Amar is still missing, he joins Taran to search for him. The rescue team looks long and hard, but there's no trace of Amar in the mountains. After 9 days of rigorous search, they ask Taran and Papa to return home. They haven't found Amar's body, but seem sure that he wouldn't have survived. Papa and Taran get back to their lives, but keep imagining Amar and grieving him. 6 months later, Papa invites Taran over for dinner. He feels proud that he got some work done that day in his gallery. He stopped working after his wife's passing, but realized that life has to go on. Papa remembers Amar's childhood, when his wife Urvashi didn't let him pick up Amar when he fell down. Urvashi wanted him to learn from his mistakes because she knew life gives a lot of pain to people. Papa always regrets not helping Urvashi or Amar, but knows he can't keep going like this. So that he and Taran can deal with their current pain, he asks her to move on and accept that Amar is no more. When Taran is about to leave, Shekhar, who is Papa's friend's son, turns up at his place. Shekhar offers to drop her home, but Taran needs more time to be with herself. A few days later, Taran's sisters, Gurpreet and Manpreet, argue about a Pakistani man Gurpreet is dating. Papa soon joins them for dinner and loves how lively their house is. He brings Shekhar along since he doesn't have any family nearby. Navyot, who plans to marry Manpreet one day, is also hanging out with them that day. Since they're celebrating Manpreet's birthday, Shekhar feels terrible about showing up empty-handed. They all argue about the cake, so Shekhar offers to bake one at home. He asks Gurpreet to become his sous chef and teases her about her name. When she gets angry, he praises her in a way that she warms up to him. They all rave about Manpreet's cooking at the dinner table. Shekhar doesn't know how long he's in town and doesn't want to make specific plans. He still remembers the day he lost his father suddenly. He always regretted the unfinished plans he made with him. He now plans to never make any plans and just enjoy his life. When everyone tastes the cake, they think Taran should hire Shekhar as a consultant for the patisserie she's opening with Papa. Shekhar believes that his friend, Francois, is much more qualified. He offers to introduce Taran to Francois, who runs the best patisserie in London. The next morning, Gurpreet runs into Shekhar when he's out on a run. The sisters spent all night talking with Navyot. His father is old, so he keeps coming over when he feels lonely. Shekhar starts chatting about his love life with her, and how a woman left him for someone else. After that, he has decided to pause his love life for a while. When it's time for a field trip, Taran is impressed with Shekhar's chivalry when he opens the door for her. Shekhar informs her about his Chinese friend, Xi, whom he met 6 years ago. They designed an app together that kept growing. One day, Xi sold the company when they were offered $62 million. Shekhar wanted to keep working, but Xi suggested they should take a break for a few years and enjoy the money. As they continue talking, Shekhar wonders why she loves Amar so much. Taran explains that love has no reason. She loves him because he was always a huge part of her. At the end of the trip, Shekhar and Taran meet Francois, who introduces them to his boyfriend Daniel. In conversation with Taran, Francois admits that he's only helping her because Shekhar has vouched for her. He only wants to work with her if Shekhar is involved in the patisserie too. As Taran steps out with Shekhar, she spots Amar. She runs after a random man and starts crying when she realizes her mistake. Taran explains to Shekhar that when the patisserie deal came through, Amar was the first person she wanted to tell. Shekhar understands that people want to share a happy moment with someone special to them. He still asks her to move on and find happiness in small things. She takes his advice and downs her drink. After that, it's a series of dancing with strangers and enjoying life with random people. That night, Shekhar brings a drunk Taran home. Gurpreet asks Manpreet to not get angry at him because Taran is finally happy after a long time. One morning, Gurpreet calls Shekhar home and rants about Manpreet refusing to meet her boyfriend. Manpreet has an issue with him being Pakistani because their family is Indian. Shekhar and Papa decide to talk some sense into Manpreet, so she agrees to meet her boyfriend Harry. When Papa calls Manpreet, he suggests she should give Harry a chance. He pretends that Shekhar also supports Manpreet in her argument. Shekhar plays along and lists out things that are wrong with Pakistan. When he learns from Manpreet that Harry stays in Edinburgh, he suggests this meeting shouldn't be an issue. Shekhar also convinces Manpreet to meet Harry once because Gurpreet likes him a lot. Harry greets them at the door and introduces Manpreet to his mother. He's a doctor and always stays busy, so his mother is glad to have Gurpreet around. When Harry's mother shows Manpreet their temple, she gets confused. She explains that even if they are Pakistani, they follow the same religion of Hinduism as Manpreet's family. Manpreet feels terrible for assuming things about their culture before knowing more. As Harry sings for them after dinner, Taran joins Shekhar on the terrace. She apologizes for getting drunk the other day, but Shekhar assures her they are fine. Taran's sisters tease her on the way back after spotting her with Shekhar. The next morning, Taran gets a call and turns up at Shekhar's place. After learning from Francois that their bank loan got approved for the patisserie, Shekhar was the first person she wanted to inform. She thanks him for teaching her how to be happy again and asks him to stick around with her. Shekhar gifts her a watch he wore for luck when he started his own company. When she wonders why he's doing all this for her, he doesn't have an answer. They form a bond over the next couple of days and can't keep their eyes off each other. When they're in the car, Taran shares that she still gets nightmares about Amar. She always feels like she's falling from a height and suddenly wakes up. Shekhar stops the car and asks her to face her fears. He drags her to a nearby cliff, and they jump into the river with a lot of force. While Taran seems scared, Shekhar comforts her and kisses her. A little distance away, Amar, who has been in a coma for 8 months, suddenly wakes up. Now that's a twist. There's a lot of confusion as Papa and Tara try to find out more about Amar's condition. Shekhar assures Papa that Amar will be fine and remember everything. They have learned that someone found Amar in a small river. After that, he has been receiving treatment for months. When Amar meets them, Papa leaves Shekhar and walks towards him. Amar finds Taran crying and hugs her. Shekhar keeps driving Harry around because he's unsure of what to do. He then decides to invite Harry for a few drinks. Amar meets all of them properly and assures them that he's feeling better. When Taran doesn't let him exert himself, he agrees to obey all her orders. She drops him home early at night, where he kisses her. She doesn't respond as he expects and asks him to get some sleep as she heads back to her place. She calls Shekhar from the car, who pretends to be busy. She can tell he's drunk, so she asks him to reach home safely. The next morning, Gurpreet and Taran bring pancakes for Shekhar, Francois, and Daniel while they're at work. Gurpreet invites them to a party one of their friends is throwing for Amar's return. As Taran leaves, she knows Shekhar doesn't plan to come. Even then, she celebrates that night with Amar. She notices Shekhar there, who keeps looking at her dancing with Amar. When Shekhar gets home, Taran is waiting at his doorstep. She asks him to sit with her and wonders why he's planning to skip town. When she gets back home, she informs Gurpreet and Manpreet that Shekhar is determined to leave after her patisserie opens. At the inauguration of her patisserie, Taran mindlessly picks out clothes for Amar. He feels grateful to her and feels like he can't do anything without her. During the grand opening, Taran gives thanks to Francois, Daniel, and Shekhar for helping her build her business. She introduces Amar to Shekhar officially before she drops Amar home early. He needs rest because of his condition, but she asks Shekhar to talk to her afterward. When she drops Amar home, Papa can tell something is wrong with her. She admits to him that she's not happy with their situation. Papa asks her to find her own happiness and do what she thinks is right. The next morning, Taran shares a story from the day Amar got lost. She remembers waiting for him for hours when he didn't show up. Taran admits that she could never imagine a life without him. When months passed, she knew she had to survive somehow. This is when she met Shekhar, and he swept her off her feet. Amar tries to be open to this situation about someone else in her life. He assures Shekhar that loving Taran is not his fault. He knows that with this accident, he has lost his right to Taran. Amar is still determined to be her friend and asks Shekhar to take care of her. Shekhar wonders why Taran wants to give up Amar for him. He reminds her that she doesn't know him that well. He offers to walk away, but Taran insists that she wants to be with him. All three of them start hanging out after that and try to be comfortable with each other. Amar comes over to Shekhar's house to discuss Taran. He knows there must be a reason why Papa and Taran's sisters all love Shekhar. He promises to never come between him and Taran, but asks Shekhar to give him some time to get used to this new arrangement. One night at a party, Shekhar watches Taran looking happy on the phone and gets drunk. Taran and Harry have to drag him home to his room. The next morning, Shekhar calls Taran as soon as he wakes up. She's on her way back from London since she had to take Amar for his doctor's appointment. She hadn't slept all night since she was worried about Amar's health. She's excited that he is finally recovering really well. Shekhar pretends there's some issue with the network and cuts the call. In his anger, he throws his phone. When he keeps ignoring Taran's call for a long time, Amar suggests they shouldn't meet for a few days. Shekhar has been missing for 2 days, and no one is able to contact him. He finally turns up drunk at Taran's place and makes an excuse about having beers with friends. He taunts Taran about Amar and wonders why he's not with her this time. Everyone tries to pacify him, but he gets angry at Taran for still caring for Amar. When Taran turns up at his place with Amar, she finds out that Shekhar has left with his stuff. Amar remembers the jacket of the man he crashed into and realizes that it was Shekhar. Papa has known all this while that Shekhar caused Amar's accident. Shekhar was also looking for Amar when Taran and Papa initiated their search. Shekhar kept feeling guilty, so he confessed everything to Papa. In the past, Shekhar apologizes for hurting Papa, but he decides to treat him like a son and pretend that he's his friend's son in front of others. Papa shares that he knew he could trust Shekhar from the pain he saw in his eyes. Because Shekhar wanted to help Papa deal with his pain, he unknowingly became like a son to him. During this time, Shekhar is driving when he's very drunk and has an accident. Harry treats him and informs the others about him. Shekhar convinces Harry to let him go so that he can walk out of Taran's life. Taran and the others find Shekhar missing when they arrive in his room. Taran insists she wants to meet him once, just so she can find out why he's punishing her. Amar wants Taran to get the closure she wants. He convinces Harry to let them drive an ambulance and find Shekhar before he takes off on a plane. They find Shekhar right when he's about to board. Amar begs Shekhar not to leave Taran without an explanation. He doesn't want Taran to grieve for Shekhar like she did for him. Shekhar hates that they all love him despite knowing that he caused Amar's accident. He admits he wants Taran to get back to the life she had before he came into it. Shekhar confesses his feelings for Taran, but thinks that she loves Amar more than him. Taran tries to protest, but Shekhar asks her to look into his eyes and admit that she doesn't love Amar. When she can't do it, Shekhar asks Amar and Taran to be happy with each other. He is satisfied about doing some good by reuniting them.